The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Tilani Pires. The headlines. The President assures to provide a solution to the ongoing strike of the health sector employees by next Friday. The Electronic Media Broadcasting Authority Act is expected to be passed in the near future. Japan commits to promote economic governance through anti-corruption policy support in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is recognized as one of the 7 UN World Restoration flagships. Cabinet approval is granted to amend the online safety bill. And on international news, the US Senate passes $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. And on sports news, swimming, Sri Lanka's aquatic heroines make the nation proud. The Public Services United Nurses Union held a discussion with President Ranil Wickremesinghe this evening on the ongoing strike carried out by a collective of 72 health trade unions, demanding to provide them with an allowance similar to that of the disturbance availability and transport allowance given to the doctors. The president of the union, Muruthettuwe Anandathera, told the media that the president promised to provide a solution to this matter by next Friday in this discussion. The State Minister for Mass Media, Shantha Bandara, has announced that the Electronic Media Broadcasting Authority Act is anticipated to be introduced in Parliament and enacted soon. Additionally, he noted that a national media policy has been drafted and is currently under consideration by the Cabinet for approval. The State Minister Bandara made these remarks during his participation in a news conference at the Presidential Media Centre today under the theme Collective Way to a Stable Country. The Minister also remarked attention was paid towards addressing revenue and expenditure issues of the 16 institutions falling under the ministry. Consequently, initiatives were undertaken to enhance the self-sufficiency of these entities, enabling them to operate independently. Discussions were held with the management of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation and the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, leading to crucial decisions that have garnered positive responses. Furthermore, Independent Television Network and Lake House have undergone significant transformations. The State Minister further added that it is intended to take these institutions into profitable entities by next year. The Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka, Ms. Zukoshi Hideki, and the resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme to the island, Ms. Azusa Kuboto, marked the launch of a new project titled The Project for Promoting Economic Governance through Anti-Corruption Policy Support, through an official signing that took place in Colombo today with the participation of senior government officials. The new project will work towards strengthening an anti-corruption ecosystem in Sri Lanka through time-bound costed national policy reform, inter-stakeholder collaboration and enhanced institutional capacity to deliver a necessary roadmap for the country to emerge from fragility towards a resilient economy and a trusted democracy. The project, supported by the government of Japan through the Japanese supplementary budget of 137 million Japan yen, will be implemented by the government and UNDP in Sri Lanka. Highlighting Japan's commitment to support Sri Lanka, Ambassador Hideki assured that Japan remains dedicated to support promoting Sri Lanka's fair economic governance and anti-corruption initiatives. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
A comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you.
Sri Lanka has been recognized as one of the 7 UN World Restoration flagships for its ambitious initiative to restore and expand mangrove cover by over 50%. The World Restoration Flagship Awards are part of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration led by the UN Environment Programme, UNEP, and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UNFAO, which aims to prevent, halt and reverse the degradation of ecosystems on every continent and in every ocean. The awards attract notable initiatives following global commitments to restore 1 billion hectares, an area larger than China. The award for the Sri Lanka Mangrove Regeneration Initiative was announced by the UNEP Advocate for Life, underwater and actor Jason Momoa. According to the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, mangrove forests thrive along the border between land and sea and are the first line of defense for coastlines, reducing erosion from storm surges, currents, waves and tides. Their intricate root system makes them attractive to fish and other organisms seeking nurseries, food and shelter. This need for the ecosystem's mitigating effect was dramatically stressed during the 2004 tsunami. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said the Cabinet has granted approval to make several amendments to the Online Safety Act based on the proposals submitted by various industry professionals. The Minister made these remarks responding to a query by a journalist at the weekly Cabinet media briefing held today at the Government Information Department. As such, the legal draftsman will be directed to outline a draft bill to amend the much disputed legislation as per a proposal tabled by the Public Security Minister at the Cabinet meeting on Monday. The Online Safety Act, which seeks to regulate online content, was passed in Parliament with amendments amidst objections from the opposition politicians and activists who allege the new law will muzzle free speech. It garnered not only the attention of local activists and organizations, but also that of diplomats and large international organizations, claiming that the bill had numerous problematic aspects. That ends the local news for now.
Elevate your life with People's Bank Excelsior. A comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The President's Media Division made a special announcement on the upcoming presidential election and the general elections today. It said the presidential election is slated to be held within the mandated period. However, the President's Media Division further said the general election is planned to be conducted in 2025 as per the current timeline, noting that financial provisions for the general election will be made in the 2025 budget. Emphasizing that the Elections Commission is responsible for conducting the polls, it was also asserted the government will be communicating with the election body as and when required. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Director General of Meteorology, Atula Karunanayaka, said that the island can expect significant rain only in mid-April. The Met Chief yesterday said that the prevailing high temperatures would persist until mid-April. He further warned that children, athletes, military personnel, labourers and others exposed to the sun must be vigilant against life-threatening dehydration. There might be slight sporadic rains in the Uva and eastern provinces, but they wouldn't have no impact on water levels in reservoirs or alleviate the high temperature. The Director General added that all citizens must ensure that they were properly hydrated. That came to you in Watchlight. Coming up, World News. World News headlines first. The U.S. Senate passes $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. The European Union politicians back new rules on artificial intelligence ahead of landmark vote. A troika will be set up to limit global warming to 1.5 Celsius degrees. The U.S. Senate has approved a long-awaited $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan after months of political wrangling. The package includes $60 billion for Kyiv, $14 billion for Israel's war against Hamas, and $10 billion for humanitarian aid in conflict zones, including Gaza. Lawmakers voted 70-29 to approve the package. The vote came after an all-night Senate session during which several Republicans made speeches criticizing the measure. European politicians in two key committees have approved new rules to regulate artificial intelligence ahead of a landmark vote that could pave the way for the world's first legislation on technology. Two committees in the European Parliament endorsed the provisional legislation to ensure that artificial intelligence complies with the protection of fundamental rights. The law is widely seen as a global benchmark for governments hoping to take advantage of the potential benefits of artificial intelligence while guarding against risks that range from disinformation and job displacement to copyright infringement. The United Arab Emirates, Azerbaijan and Brazil form a and future hosts of UN climatic summits are joining forces to push for an international agreement to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Azerbaijan will host this year's United Nations climate event in November as well. Last week, European climate monitors reported that for the first time, global warming had exceeded temperatures of 1.5 Celsius over a year. The El Nino weather phenomenon that warms the surface waters in the eastern Pacific Ocean made 2023 the planet's hottest year in global records, going back to 1850. Back to the world news headlines. The U.S. Senate passes $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. The European Union politicians back new rules on artificial intelligence ahead of landmark vote. A troika will be set up to limit global warming to 1.5 Celsius degrees. That ends world news. Coming up, development news. The Yahoo Finance website has placed Sri Lanka among 15 friendliest countries in Asia. These were ranked after considering 4 sources, Yahoo Finance and Inside the Monkeys articles on 30 friendliest countries in the world and 20 most immigrant-friendly countries in the world. HSBC's Expat Explorer rankings that list the top 46 destinations for expats living and passport indexes welcoming countries ranked 2024, which ranks countries on how many passports they accept visa-free with visa on arrival or electronic travel authorization. That ends development news. Moving on with sports news. Sri Lanka's talented young aquatic athletes excelled at the BIMSTEC Youth Aquatic Championships, earning a proud 3rd place among tough competition from the neighbouring nations. The team brought home a total of 14 medals, including 1 silver and 13 bronze, showcasing their excellence on the international stage. Leading the team was Dinali Karunadasa of Visakha Vidyalaya, securing an impressive 4 bronze medals. The girls and boys water polo teams also showcased their strength, each securing a bronze medal for their outstanding efforts. The BIMSTEC Youth Aquatic Championship, initiated by the Indian government for 7 nations associated with the Bay of Bengal, marks its inaugural tournament. That came to you in sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Associated Battery Manufacturers Ceylon Limited, a subsidiary of Exide Industries Limited, was honoured with the Sri Lanka National Quality Awards under the Manufacturing Medium Scale category, organised by the Sri Lanka Standards Institution, the national standards body of Sri Lanka, at the Monarch Imperial Thalawattugoda recently. This renowned event is held annually to acknowledge business excellence in local entities and to recognise Sri Lanka organisations that excel in quality management and quality achievement. That came to you in business news.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
The central bank has announced the appointment of 2 new members to its governing board. In a press release, Communications Department of the bank said that Mr. Rajiv Amarasuri and Mr. Manil Jasingha were appointed to the governing board with effect from 30th January and 1st February respectively. That was economic news.
Weather report.
Several spells of showers will occur in the eastern and Uva provinces and in the Polonnaruwa, Matale and Nuwara districts. A few showers may occur in the Hambantota and Anuradhapura districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts after 2 p.m. Fairly strong winds of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times on the eastern slopes of the central hills and in the northern, north-central, northwestern, Uva and eastern provinces and in the Hambantota district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts during the morning hours. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The President assures to provide a solution to the ongoing strike of the health sector employees by next Friday. The Electronic Media Broadcasting Authority Act is expected to be passed in the near future. Japan commits to promote economic governance through anti-corruption policy support in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is recognized as one of the 7 UN World Restoration flagships. Cabinet approval is granted to amend the online safety bill. And on international news, the US Senate passes $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. And our sports news, swimming, Sri Lanka aquatic heroines make the nation proud. That ends this news broadcast, and now it's back to Chandima Virakon as always on a Tuesday night. Back to you, Chandima.